So, hi everybody. I thought I'd do a question and answer video for the Hisense 200, I'm sorry, two, yeah, 200 square foot, 115 volt portable air conditioner. I've had a lot of questions about it lately, and someone was very upset the other day because, God forbid, I forget to tell somebody how quickly it cooled a room. But again, that's something that would vary from user to user, but I'll get into that later. I will add timestamps for each particular question. I tried to find the most frequent questions that people have been asking, and just kind of to deal with stuff like that. So I will get to that right now. So again, since this is a basic question and answers, I have provided a link to the original owner's manual because I know sometimes people misplace those. So if none of the questions I answer give you a solution, you may want to consult the owner's manual or contact Hisense as well. I've also added the link to where it can be found, the air conditioner, which is Lowe's. I also wanted to say that the model number that I have is AP0819CR1W. So that is the model that I own. I'm not sure if they're making any changes to the particular models at this time, since this was last year's model, which was 2019, I believe. So things may change. So let's get into it, and I will be right back. Okay, before I jump into anything else, I just wanted to give you guys some really quick info about the unit. The unit is portable. You do have to drain the water, but I'll get to that again later. And I will link one of my original videos in a card here somewhere so you guys can see the general overview. It does include everything that you need in the box, which is the exhaust hose and a basically like a window guard plate, an extension plate, and some little foam guards as well. Again, I'll link the original video in a card here somewhere. The price point of the window unit as of right now that I checked, which is today's the 1st of June 2020, it retails for $319 through Lowe's. You can also find it in store. You may have to check with your local store for more information, but that is about the average price. And that is $319 US. So let me go ahead and we will keep on with the next questions. So how quickly does the AC unit cool a room? This may depend, again, on various factors. It may depend on where you live, how hot it is, and if there's humidity. I live in a very dry climate, so we don't have a great deal of humidity. So for me, it can take anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to maybe a half an hour. Again, this will depend from user to user. And it may depend on other factors as well, like if your room that you're trying to cool had been closed for the day and existing heat that's trapped in the house, things of that nature. So it may just vary from user to user. So what are the temperature settings? The settings for the unit are basic. They have a standard setting, which is the AC function, and then it has a dry function, which lets you basically take out the heat or dehumidify, and then there's a fan function. There is also a mode button which allows you to change the settings. There is also the fan button, which basically is just a fan option, and you can set the settings to high and low. The standard setting when you turn on the AC unit is usually 75 degrees, but it can be turned up as high as 86 degrees, and it can be turned down to as low as 62 to 61 degrees, and these are all Fahrenheit. So that's basically what the unit allows you to do. So this question would be, does the vent move? A particular AC unit doesn't have an oscillating function. So basically you kind of have to use a little tab on the front of the unit to set the actual angle of the airflow, and then gently move up or down the outer slats to go ahead and direct the airflow in which direction you'd like it to go. Can the unit be used in a window with a screen? Yes, it can. This particular unit has kind of a protective plate basically, and it sits in your windowsill, so it can work on a standard up and down sliding window or a side to side sliding window. It may depend on the width of your window as well, so you will have to check the owner's manual along with the information that I provided from Lowe's to see if it will fit your window. The plate itself basically nestles into your windowsill, and it does come, as I mentioned, with some sort of like little protective strips, and the strips kind of weather seal in the air and keep the heat out and stuff. And it may depend as well on the height of your window too, because the actual exhaust hose isn't extremely long and it's only sold in one size, so it's a little tricky. I have mine basically on a smaller window that I have in my bedroom, and I probably shouldn't have it set up the way I have it, but that's the only way it works for me without having to rearrange my room completely. But I will add 2 photos of what it looks like attached to the window itself. It is, again, adjustable, so you will have to kind of try to measure it properly. Mine did come with a little plastic, kind of like a little tack that you stick in to hold the window plate adjustment, but I lost it, so I'm kind of improvising by using a paper clip at this point. Again, not always the easiest thing to do, but you still kind of have to have a little support so it stays open. Actually setting it into the window might be a challenge as well. Again, it just may depend on your window style and your window width. But you can use it in a window with a screen. I'm assuming you can probably use it in a window without a screen as well. It just may depend on where you are, I guess, and what style home you have. So we'll move on to the next question. So why does the AC unit turn off? The AC unit has an overheat sensor in it. So some of them, sometimes if they think that it's overheating or the sensor's triggered for some reason, it will automatically turn itself off. I've had a lot of people ask me about that. The actual plug has a reset button. So sometimes if you press the button, it will reset, I guess, the unit. And I actually took a picture of it, but I wanted to show you what it looked like too. It's a little tricky because the cord's so small, but it's this button, the larger button at the top. I can't move the unit any farther. I have it sitting next to me, so sorry. But I'll add the picture in as well. So it has a reset button, and when you turn it on or when you plug it into the wall, it's green. And sometimes you can actually reset the unit itself, so won't trigger the automatic shut off. But as I mentioned, automatic shutoffs basically happen because the sensor in the unit is triggered thinking that it's overheating. You can also check the owner's manual, and again, I've provided that information in the description. So moving on. So how do I drain the water? This unit has a simple little drain plug on the back. You unscrew the cap. You will need to unplug the unit, of course, for safety reasons, and you can drain the water. You will need like a shallow pan or a little container, and you just tilt it back until you see all of the water has been drained. I actually had someone ask me if you could connect a drain for continuous drainage. I don't know if you can. I personally wouldn't recommend it because I would think that maybe it would be a bit of a hazard. But again, that would be something that you would have to contact Hisense and ask them about. Overall, again, draining the unit may depend on how frequently you use it, and it may also depend on where you live. If you use like the dry function or the dehumidifier function, I imagine that it would fill up much quicker as opposed to just using the air conditioner function. But as I mentioned before, I live in a drier climate, so sometimes I can drain my AC unit like once a week and there isn't very much water in it. And sometimes I can drain it every few days just to be vigilant when it's extremely hot. So it may just vary from user to user. I would say, again, during high usage, you probably want to drain it every few days or check to make sure that you don't have excess water, because you will end up with an E5 function notice or function error, and I'll get to that in just a minute. I see the E5 error message. The E5 error message can show up for a few different reasons. As far as I know, basically, it seems to be that the sensor is triggered claiming that there is enough water collected in the draining system or little holding tank that could damage the unit. That's what I understood from reading the information. It could also just be that it's, for some reason, there's some sort of malfunction. Overall, what you can do is you can, of course, unplug the unit, make sure that there's no excess water in there, drain it, of course, and then plug the unit back in and see if you still have that message. If you do, you may need to try to reset the unit using the reset button, as I showed you guys earlier, for the other question that had been posed about auto shut off. But you can try that, and if all else fails, then you can contact, I guess, Hisense and ask them, or consult the owner's manual, as I've again included the information in the description. So I hope this answered all of your questions. Again, I did include timestamps for most of the pressing questions, and I'm sorry I made this kind of long, but it was a fair amount of questions. So I hope this was helpful. I hope everybody has a good day. Bye.